My first assignment as a newly ordained priest was at St. Bede's in Williamsburg. While I was there, I learned to play golf because it's what everybody in Williamsburg does. I stunk at it, though. So some of my friends got together and they got me some lessons so that I could at least keep the pace of play going. And when I took my lessons, the very first thing they taught was the grip, because the grip is the most important part of the game. Nothing else matters if your grip is off. You can be lined up perfectly, you could have a perfect swing and follow through, but if your grip is off, the ball's not going to go where you want it to go. So he taught me a grip, and he had me pick up a 7-iron and start swinging at balls. And I'd swing, and after several, he would say, check your grip. Because your grip begins to slip a little bit. It begins to adjust itself in your hand. So I would readjust, swing several more times, and he'd say again, check your grip. And after every several balls, he'd remind me, check your grip. Because you don't feel it moving in your hand, but it does. And you don't notice that your grip is off until your ball starts going in wonky direction. You know, I thought that I had completely weaned myself off of those 24-hour news cycle TV shows. And then Michael Cohen. And I'm back on it. Michael Cohen is fascinating to me. He's not fascinating because of the things that he testified to. He frankly didn't say anything that I don't already know or at least haven't heard before. And if you believed it before his testimony, you believe it after. If you didn't believe it before his testimony, not likely to believe it after. After all, he was charged and convicted of lying under oath to Congress. But what fascinated me about Michael Cohen was his opening statement. He talked about his father, a Holocaust survivor. His father, how he tried really hard to impress on Michael and all of his siblings the importance of integrity, of honesty. How he loved his wife and children and kept trying to inspire his children to live that same kind of family life. And he talked about the shame that he feels. He's going to jail. He has lost everything. He lost his license to practice law. He's going to be away from his family for 3 years. And he talked about the shame that he felt. Because he said, I have told lies, but I am not a liar. I have cheated, but I am not a cheater. And it struck me, as I was listening to Michael Cohen, that probably the only thing that separates him from me is opportunity. Because integrity is not the kind of thing that you wake up one day and say, I have no need for this. It's not the kind of thing that you wake up one day after living a lifetime of honesty and decide, oh, I think I'll lie to Congress under oath today. It's a little bit at a time. A little bit here, a little bit there. Your grip begins to shift. And if you don't have anyone there to remind you to check your grip, it just keeps shifting a little bit at a time. A little bit here, a little bit there, until you find yourself moving in a direction that you never intended to go. The only thing that separates him from me and him from most of us is that we just never had the opportunity to go as far as he went. In the end, he sold his integrity to someone who had no use for it. We do it too, though. You know, this is a cautionary tale. It's not a tale of judgment about everything that he did and everything that his life has become. It's cautionary for us because if we're going to be honest, who has never told a lie to get out of trouble? Oh, I didn't realize I was driving that fast, officer. I'm late for work because my alarm didn't go off when we know we just hit that snooze button too many times. We do it. And every time we do, our grip shifts. The thing to remember is to always check your grip. Always go back to who we are, who we know ourselves to be, who we are called to be, who we are graced to be. The problem is that things happen so quickly that we don't even realize that we're doing it. We tell those lies and we exaggerate things to make us look better or sound better or even feel better about ourselves. We do it all the time. And so it's easy for us to say that I would never do what Michael Cohen did when we will never have the opportunity to make the choices that he has made. What's important for us to do is not try and remove the splinter from his eye, but to work on getting the beam out of our own. On Wednesday, we're going to enter Lent. And it is a great opportunity because we give things up for Lent, which is beautiful. It is my favorite time of the year. I really love giving up something that I desire but don't need for the sake of my love of Jesus, so that I can have more room, more space, more energy, more opportunities to receive what I really need from him. There's something that is so incredibly beautiful about Lent. I love it. It also gives us an opportunity when we make the surrenders of the things that we don't need. It gives us the opportunity to begin to increase things in our life that we do need. And I would make this recommendation to all of us. For the next 40 days, let's keep checking our grip. Before we speak in anger, check your grip. Before we speak in defense, check your grip. Before we speak in a card to the person that just cut us off, check your grip. Before we sit down to do our taxes, check your grip. Before you go online on the internet, check your grip. Our grip is Jesus. Our grip is the gospel. Our grip is all that we have been given. And when that grip shifts, everything shifts. And so we have to keep going back and checking it. We have to keep going back and asking ourselves, before I speak this word, is it true? Before I respond to this person who got me angry, will this serve the mission of Jesus in mercy? Before I do anything, before I say anything, what will this action or word say about me? What does it say about what is in my heart? When we check our grip, when we constantly are looking back, looking inside to see where we are, to see where we're standing, to see, making sure that we are standing with Jesus and working for Jesus, then our grip stays true and our integrity is intact. It's not the big things that get us. It is all of the little things that add up to big things. We're also entering into a season of election again. And we're already starting to hear all of the negative things about everybody who wants to run for president. Before you respond to anybody, before you say anything about anybody, check your own grip. Before we point fingers and call someone a hypocrite, let's check our own grip, because the truth is, there's enough hypocrisy to go around for everybody. If you believe that life begins at the moment of conception, but that we ought not protect the dignity of that life, check your grip. If you believe that human life has a dignity, but that we have no obligation to tend to the needs of people born on a different line that we drew on God's earth, check your grip. We need to keep checking our own grip before we point our fingers at the hypocrisy of other people. There is enough to go around. This Lent, let's make it our goal that we look and tend to the beam in our own eye before we try and remove a speck in somebody else's. Before we start pointing fingers, before we make judgments, before we open our mouth, before we make a move, before we show a finger, let us check our grip. Because when our grip is true, our integrity is in place. Whatever happens, wherever we go, before we do anything, for the next 40 days, check your grip.